Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going to be wrestling over dominance of an island. We're looking at Isle of Skye here. This is a 2 to 5 player tile laying game with some interesting auction mechanisms. Takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play, 2 to 5 players. Think of Carcassonne, the next step, if you've ever played Carcassonne. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of the game, you get to pick your cool color and family from these really cool player shields. So we have red, we have green with the McKinnons, we have blue with the McDonald's. I'm going to stop trying to pronounce these because I will start mashing them up around now. And there's white, and there is yellow, the McLeods. Those are really cool looking custom player shields. Now, at the beginning of the game, there are 4 different random things that are going to score. Now, there's 16 of these tiles in the game, so only 1/4 of the tiles are going to be scored each game, and then when they're scored is always different. So there's a lot of replayability value here. So this shows you A, B, C, and D for these 4 ways to score. This game with 2 to 4 players is going to be 6 rounds long. There's another side for 5 players. It's 1 round less, and it's a little different. So here, first round, only A is going to score. So at the end of this first round, just this tile is going to score. It says any one of these, if you have a tower on a mountain region, if you have 1 of them, it's 1 point. 2 of them, it's 3 points. 3 of them, it's 6 points. That's the only thing that's scoring right now. But you might want to look ahead, because next round, the only thing that's going to score is this. If you have a farm with a cattle or a sheep on the farm or anywhere surrounding the farm, you get a point for every one of those animals. Those are the first 2 things we'll talk about. And let's show you how a round works. Now these normally wouldn't be so close together, but for the video I kind of want to show you what it looks like. Each player essentially is going to get income, and each player starts with this guy's yellow. He starts with a yellow castle. And of course we have a white castle, a blue, and a green. Each of those players have their own castle. Again, usually they'd have a lot more area to build, but I'm just kind of showing you this. Each person gets income for the first thing of the round, and the castle automatically gets you 5. So each person is going to get $5 of income. Then, from this bag of tiles, every person is going to draw 3 tiles and put them right in front of their area. Then we're going to look around and see which ones we might want to buy. Everyone has an axe, and it's behind their shield. What they're going to do is they're going to put an axe next to any one of these behind there, so you know which one that's going to be discarded when we reveal, and we know which ones are not. Then you have to put at least $1 on each of the other 2 tiles. So you can put as many as you want. Now, what you're doing is you're assigning what values somebody else would need to pay you to buy those tiles, but if nobody buys them from you, you have to spend those. So you're setting the price as how much would you be willing to pay for it, and how much do you want other people to pay for it. But you still have to leave money left over because you're going to be buying 1 tile, up to 1 tile from anybody in the game. So maybe I make this one worth 2, and I keep these 2, and I lift this one for 1, and everybody would assign money like that at the same time. Once that's done, everybody would reveal all of their things there. The ones that are discarded would get taken out with the axe, and they get put back in the bag. Now there's 2 left. You can see how much each of these are. So for example, starting with the start player, let's say it was me, I would go around and I would like to buy something. Now remember, the first round scoring has to do with these little white towers here, and I had exactly $2 left over, and I want to buy this one, so I will pay him the 2. So he gets the 2 that I paid him, and he gets to keep that, but I get the tile. So he just got $4 in his pot, and remember, he's buying a little bit later. Maybe this player wants one of those too. This guy's priced his at 3, he priced his at 2, so he pays him the 2, and he keeps to keep those, and he takes that tile. Then this player is going to bid. He only has $1 left. So I guess he'll take this for me for $1. And then this guy has a ton of money, but he can only buy 1 thing. Maybe he really wants the one with the tower, so he'll spend 3 to this guy. He gets his tile. This guy gets all that money. Then we build. So normally you're going to get 2 tiles. Sometimes you'll get 3, depending on who bought what. Now, the way this gets done is this, just like similar to Carcassonne, you have to match them up, but the roads don't have to match up. So for example, This is a legal placement because it's mountain to mountain. The roads do not have to add up. The only thing the roads do is sometimes there's tiles with barrels of whiskey. And if the barrel of whiskey goes from a road to the mountain, to the castle, you'll get that income at the beginning of the round. So this would be 6 income right there. But if he's not there, we go like this. Like for later on, if he was like this, I would not get that income because it's not touching this. But this is the one I bought. I bought this one, and I bought this one. And let's say I did something like that. That would be my first turn. Now we would go. Everyone would build theirs, and then we would go to the scoring. Now, if you remember the scoring here, first round it's mountain regions. For every mountain region, whether you have 1, 2, or 3 of those towers, you get 1, 3, or 6 points. So I have 1 mountain region. I've got 2 of those guys. That's 3 points. I would move up 3, and so on and so forth. That would be the end of the first round. Later on, okay, so we'd start round 2. We know that we'd do this. Now what's going to score is farms and any cattle or sheep around farms. We would start again. You go income, you set it up, you buy, you build. Do that again. Now, as this goes on, again, the next round would score A and C. So it'd be this one, this one. This one says if you have at least 3 landscape tiles in vertical, you're getting 3 points for each of those. And then on this round, B and D. So it's this one and this one. This is saying if you have each set of those 3 types of towers and lighthouse and farm, get you 5 points for each set. Now, this is some gold where every player that's ahead of you, you get that many extra gold per round. It's sort of a catch-up mechanic to get you some more money. So in the last round, if there's 4 players, and you're in last place, there's 3 other players ahead of you, you're getting $12 extra that last round to sort of help you out. So that's what rounds those things score in. At the end of the game, you're going to get 5 coins for each point, and then you're going to score the scrolls at the end of the game. So at the end of the last round, let's say we were just scoring the last round. This is cool because this would have scored 1 for every animal around the farms. So I have this farm, I would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then for this farm, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This one, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That would have been a humongous point score for that farm. Then I would have scored this. Would have had 3 for this row, 3 for this row, 3 for this row. That would have been another 9 points. And then we would have scored this. Let's see, I have 1 of those, 1 farm, and 1 lighthouse at least. So I would have scored another 5 points. Then we go to final scoring where we look at the scrolls. This says 1 point for every 2 barrels. And so I have 1 set of barrels here, and that's it. So that wouldn't work. Now, if the item that this is on is closed, so we have a mountain that's closed here. If this mountain was closed off, this would be worth double. It'd be worth 2 points for every one of those, but didn't do me so good. Just like this, if this lake was closed in like this tile, because it's in a closed-in area, would be 2 points for every one of these. And that would have been 2, 4, 6, 8 more points. And then 5 points for every 5 coins for every point at the end there. And then whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. All right, there's the Isle of Skye. I was interested in this because I love tile laying games in general. My wife loves Carcassonne. It's one of the ones we play a lot. And I typically like tile laying games. I saw this was a tile laying game, so I wanted to check it out. It actually exceeded my expectations. I don't know what I had coming. I just know I like tile laying games. I think this is an excellent, excellent game. And I've heard a lot of people say a lot of bad things about it. I don't know why. I think it's a great game. Let me tell you why. Number 1, setting up the scoring. There's 16 different ways you can score in this game. 1/4 of those are used each game. And so you've got a random setup for scoring, a random thing as to when those score. So automatically it's really cool. Lots of replayability value. Then when you get into the game, it's really cool because you get your income, you grab the tiles, and you're deciding which one to throw away. Well, you want to throw away one that maybe is going to help somebody else out, and you don't want them to have it. Cool, right? But then the bidding mechanism is really, I think, what set this game apart for me, why I think it's excellent. Is you've got money, and you're like, I've got to assign dollars to these 2 tiles in front of me that I'm not throwing away. And I've got to set the price high enough that it's really going to benefit me so much to get this, or this is how much I'm going to pay for it. So it's like, what am I willing to pay myself to keep other people from having this? Or what do I think it's worth to somebody else, and how much money can I get out of them? It's really interesting. It's somewhat similar to a mechanism in a very popular game called Castles of Mad King Ludwig from Bezier Games. And it kind of uses a similar mechanism, and that's the coolest part of that game. And that's the coolest part of this game, is that whole bidding. How much do I do? And it ratchets it up because round after round you start to add tiles, you start to get more money, and then the people, the catch-up mechanic of getting more money during the later rounds when you're in last or second to last place, or when you're not in first, more money gets infused in the game, and it ratchets up this idea of how much should I set this for. And then so now, when you're done, you have this little village in front of you, and it's not going to be as big as a Carcassonne board. So I don't feel like you get as much done, but it doesn't matter because it's a much more smaller, more concentrated thing, right? You're trying to build, and it's interesting, like the timing of what tiles come out that round versus what's scoring now versus the future, and there's some interesting strategic planning to do there. Now, it does feel like you're playing a little bit of solitaire when you're building your thing, but you're all going after the same goals, and you're all got this interaction with the money. So if you like tile laying games, I think this is one you should definitely look into. If you don't really like auction-ish or money things, then maybe you might want to stay away from it just because. But for me, that's the most interesting part of this is figuring out how much to set the values at. So man, this one was under the radar for me. It was a pleasant surprise. Now keep in mind, it is a very light game. Now I said I was interested in this because my wife likes Carcassonne. Now this is a light game to a gamer. Okay, it's light to the point where it moves fast. It's over in 6 rounds. It's over in 30 to 45 minutes, but there's a good bite during that time there. I would still call it a light, sort of a light Euro tile placement game, but it's still heavy enough that my wife would probably never play it. There's still enough thinking, enough things to pound through, where if you have non-gamers that like Carcassonne, this one might, even though it's just one step past Carcassonne, for my wife, it's still too much for her. So keep that in mind. It's probably not going. Some people that play Carcassonne that are not gamers might be able to play this, but I'm just saying my wife is one that's where she draws the line. She won't play this thing. So that's that. It's like 2.0, next step after Carcassonne. Very good. Lots to think about. Excellent game. That's Isle of Skye.